You just got the raise you wanted. For about 2 weeks, you felt incredible. Then it faded, and you started thinking about the next promotion. You bought the car. Then you noticed the newer model. You reached the goal. Then you set a bigger one, almost instantly. This isn't a personal flaw. It's not a character defect. It's wiring. Ancient, stubborn biological wiring. Today, we're asking a simple but uncomfortable question. Why do we always want more, even when we already have enough? But to understand why, we need to look at the psychology behind it. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called the hedonic treadmill. The idea is simple. No matter what happens to us, good or bad, we tend to return to a baseline level of happiness. Win the lottery? Within about a year, most people's happiness levels return close to where they started. Suffer a major setback? Same thing in reverse. Humans adapt. That word, adapt, is the whole story. Our minds are not built to register enough. They're built to register change. Rockefeller, once the richest man in modern history, was famously asked how much money is enough. His answer has been quoted for over a century. Just a little bit more. Whether or not he actually said those exact words is debated by historians. But the phrase stuck, because it's true for almost everyone, not just billionaires. But this pull toward more isn't just modern psychology. It's something ancient. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Wanting more used to keep us alive. For most of human history, resources were scarce and unpredictable. The people who kept gathering and kept storing, kept striving, were the ones whose descendants survived winters, famines, and hard years. Contentment from an evolutionary standpoint was risky. An organism that says, "I have enough," stops preparing for tomorrow. So we inherited brains that are extremely good at noticing gaps, what we don't have, and not very good at noticing sufficiency. This shows up everywhere. Scrolling for one more video after you meant to stop. Checking your bank account and immediately thinking about the next number. Finishing a big meal and still eyeing dessert. None of this means we're broken. It means we're running software that was built for a world that no longer exists. And it's not just instinct. There's real brain chemistry behind it, too. Let's talk about the chemistry for a second because it explains a lot. Dopamine is often misunderstood as the pleasure chemical. It's actually closer to the anticipation chemical. Neuroscience research on reward systems shows dopamine spikes most sharply before we get something during the chase, not after we've received it. That's why the hunt for a new job feels more thrilling than the third month of actually having it. That's why planning a vacation can feel better than the vacation itself. Our brains reward wanting, not having. This is precisely what modern industries have learned to exploit. Social media feeds, loot boxes, infinite scroll, notification badges, all engineered around one insight. Keep the want alive, and people stay engaged. The Greek Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it plainly almost 2,000 years ago. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. He wasn't talking about minimalism as an aesthetic. He was describing a mental exit from a trap that never fully closes. But the trap isn't built by desire alone. It's reinforced every day by the people around us. Wanting more rarely happens in a vacuum. It happens next to someone else. This is called social comparison theory. We don't judge our lives in isolation, we judge them relative to the people around us. A raise feels great until you learn a coworker got a bigger one. A nice apartment feels perfect until your friend moves somewhere nicer. Theodore Roosevelt is widely credited with the line, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Historians can't confirm he ever wrote it, but the internet age has made the sentiment feel more true than ever. We used to compare ourselves to our neighborhood. Now we compare ourselves to the curated highlight reel of millions of strangers, algorithmically selected to be more impressive than our actual daily life. That's not a fair fight. It was never designed to be. But reaching the goal doesn't quite work the way we expect. There's a psychological concept researcher, Tal Ben-Shahar, named the arrival fallacy. The false belief that reaching a goal will bring lasting fulfillment. We picture the goal like a finish line, a place where wanting stops. But almost everyone who's achieved something big will tell you the same quiet secret. The finish line moves, you don't arrive. You just get a new horizon. This isn't necessarily bad news. It means ambition, growth, and striving are part of being human. The problem isn't wanting things. The problem is believing that the next thing is what will finally make the wanting stop. So if the finish line keeps moving, what actually helps? Here's the shift that actually helps. Not eliminating desire, but changing our relationship to it. 1. Notice the gap between want and need. Wanting more isn't wrong, but mistaking a want for a requirement for happiness is where the suffering comes in. 2. Practice deliberate contrast. Gratitude works because it manually interrupts the adaptation process. It forces your brain to notice what it has already stopped noticing. 3. Redirect the chase toward growth, not accumulation. The wanting instinct doesn't have to be pointed only at possessions. Pointed toward mastery, relationships, or meaning, that same drive becomes something closer to purpose than hunger. The Buddhist tradition has a teaching that captures this well. Not that desire is evil, but that clinging to desire is the source of suffering. It's a subtle but important distinction. You can want things and still not be owned by the wanting. And with that, we finally have all the pieces we need to answer the question we started with. So, why do we always want more? Because our brains are ancient survival machines running in a modern world of endless options. Because dopamine rewards the chase, not the finish. Because comparison never runs out of new targets. Because the goalpost was never built to stay still. None of that is a life sentence. It's just information. And once you can see the mechanism, you get to choose how much power you hand it. Maybe the goal was never to stop wanting. Maybe it's to stop assuming the next thing will be the last thing you need. And maybe that's enough to know for now. So the next time you get the thing, let yourself actually have it for a minute before you start wanting the next one.